What's going on, everybody? It's Fate Dating Coach Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, we're going to talk about the 5 reasons, right? The top 5 things that make a guy come back after realizing he lost you, it's too late, so on and so forth, okay? So, jumping into this, the first thing, and I think this is probably one of the most important things, and it's really hard for a woman to accept or digest, especially when a woman, like a client comes to me and she's like, Elliot, I promise my situation's different. This guy's different. We had a connection. We had this, we had that, and I refuse to believe that it was all fake. Well, here's the good news. I'm not saying it was all fake. I always tell my clients that even if a man's emotionally unavailable, what he can say is genuine. Okay, but he's always going to put his needs before yours. Okay, that's just the truth. And what that essentially means, again, he's going to put his needs over yours, is that when a guy comes back when it's too late, when you're like, I'm done, or he believes that you're actually done, he's wanting assets over you, okay? He's coming back for the assets, not you. How do I know that? Because you wouldn't be in this position to begin with. A guy who truly likes you does not put himself in a position to lose you. Funny enough, though, every single client that comes to me, I literally, ladies, I'm talking and I'm asking myself, you're a good-looking woman. You're a high-value woman. You have a good fucking head, or a head on your shoulders, a good heart. Like, you mean well. Why are you giving this guy a chance? Yet this guy's just walking around doing whatever the hell he wants to. It's not fair, okay? So when a guy comes back, at the end of it all, it's for assets. It's not for you. It's not for your emotion, or it's not the emotional aspect of it. Doesn't mean he never liked you. It's just him first, okay? So the second thing, is the advantages. Now, when I talk about advantages, I have it in my guide. If you're interested, I have 9 guides for the price of one down below. You could check this out. I go into a lot more detail on this stuff. But when I talk about advantages, what I essentially mean is some advantage or something you gain, an asset, something where it progresses you forward as an individual, as a species, to our ultimate goal, which is survival and reproduction, okay? So if I can convince a girl that I'm the best guy for her, and she's like, oh, hell yeah, she's letting me hit it, and I'm not having to court her as much, that's an advantage, and stuff, stuff like that. So men are very hesitant, especially if the man invested in you, which is one of the reasons, ladies, I always tell you, you have to get a man to invest his resources, consistently investing his time, energy, effort, money, and stuff like that, because he doesn't want to invest those things and then lose you. Now, you might say, well, then why is he being an effing pig? Why is he pulling this bullshit? Why is he playing games? 2 reasons. Number 1, he truly thinks he has you and you ain't going anywhere, because up to this point, you have probably done a lot of things that made him believe that you ain't going anywhere. And, what was the other one? What was the other one? And number 2, I guess, he does it, a lot of women take themselves off the market and say, I'm only talking to you, we're exclusive, and they have all this hope in their head that it's going to turn out, and he takes advantage of the fact, okay? So that's why a guy's doing it. But if he is in a good situation with you and is taking you for granted and then loses you, right, he's going to realize it if he's in a worse situation. If he's sitting there thinking like, oh shit, what'd I do? What's going on? What's happening? And he starts to freak out. Now, of course, this takes time, and I have videos on this where I say it takes about 1 month to 3 months is the sweet spot. It could take 3 to 6, but it's usually never before a month. And the reason for that is the guy has to kind of go out and see what it's like with and without you, right? He has to go experience that decision he made, or what his actions created, such as like pulling away and doing this and doing that. Like, he has to live with those consequences, right? But if the guy loses you, okay, he loses the advantages. He loses the assets. When I say advantages, one of the advantages he has is over the competition. He doesn't want someone else. No one specific, just I had this girl, I was hitting it was cool, it was fun. Now I have nothing, and this other guy has it. It doesn't have to be a specific guy that he knows, just in general, right? Guys reflect on this, and it's not good, okay? So that's another reason guys come back, because they realize, oh shit, I actually lost the advantages. Number 3 is kind of going on that. I call it the oh shit moment. So I tell a lot of people, especially in my videos, I have a lot on this, where I say guys have 2 levels of being gone, or like of you being gone. The first level, and this is probably where a lot of you stand if you're trying to convince a guy that you're done. Unfortunately, he doesn't believe you. Okay, that's the first level. It's where you both are basically doing no contact, doing your thing, playing the game, but at the end of the day, he knows you want him. He knows he dicked you down good. Sorry, my language. YouTube, don't take this down. But he dicked you good, right? And you're dickmatized. You have what I call one-itis. You're stuck on the dude, but you're playing the game. And the reason he believes he has you still is, like I said, up to this point, all the evidence points towards him still having you. You gave him multiple chances. You said you're not talking to anyone else. You really want a relationship. Let's say he's the first guy you talked to out of a relationship or out of a divorce, and you never had something like this before. Or, I mean, again, maybe your age is getting to you and you're 55 years old, and you have this great rapport with this guy, and you don't want to give, like, whatever it is. Again, you give him 1,000 chances, you let him come and go, he's made every mistake and he's still around. All these things, okay, have shown him, yeah, I got you. Now, the way to get to the second stage is, unfortunately, you have to call his bluff and actually be done with it. So women want to put on this facade. A lot of my clients want to put on this facade and be like, well, how do I do this, Elliot? How do I make him regret and feel like I'm done? And I'm like, well, you can't unless you're actually done. And the reason for that is, you can't put on a facade against a guy who doesn't have a facade. Like, he doesn't care whether he loses you or not. So when you're sitting across each other from the negotiation table and you're trying to play this game, and he's just sitting back like, I don't really care because I don't care about the outcome, whereas you're very outcome dependent, it's hard to kind of win and get that leverage, right? So you actually have to be done and follow through. You have to not reply to his texts, make him feel like he is not around, stop letting him come and go, and just cut it off as if you're never going to talk to him or see him again. And it ggets to a point, like I said in my other videos, where he might be like, oh man, I miss her, or this or that, or again, he wants the sugar walls again, the assets, and he believes that you're actually done, so then he comes about. Because he doesn't come about on the first level, the first stage, because he's calling your bluff essentially, but when he calls it and you're not answering, it's like, oh shit, okay? Which kind of leads to the next thing. It's like, well, what does he do next? He can move on with it, which I know is not what you want, but it's what you kind of have to do, or he can come back around, which is kind of what we're hoping. So this kind of leads into the fourth thing. Well, yeah, he could sit back and not do anything, but if he really likes the assets, and assets doesn't have to be sexual. It could be the validation you give him. Maybe you're the only girl he was talking to, but he doesn't want a relationship, or whatever it is. The more time that goes by for a woman with high value, at least, because a woman's value, or a woman upholds her value based on who she's intimate with and who she puts her time into, or allows, gives her time. If months and months and months go by, a woman's going to be smart enough to be like, bro, I'm not getting back into this. I know how you are. You're not what I want. I don't want to deal with this and go through that bullshit again. I'm out, okay? And obviously, this is bad for the man because you're moving on, and now he's in this conundrum if he regrets it and comes back. Again, the title of the video is, why do guys come back when it's too late? This is just one of the reasons. He's going to take you for granted. That kind of has to cleanse and get out of his system, and he has to know what it's like with or without you. And again, this all takes time. But it gets to a point where if he does regret it, he wants to make a move sooner than later. That's why you guys get these weird replies months later from a guy. You're like, what the fuck? Well, it's because of this. The more time that goes by, it's not good for him. He has to either come back or live with that decision, which, again, you see how all these are correlated, goes to the last thing. He needs control over you. Ladies, what you don't realize is the men you are talking to have a platform to perform this act, they're clowns because you give them the stage and you sit there and you watch them perform. And what I mean by all this is you wonder why you're in the situation you're in, and it's because you lower your value to a point, right? You lower your standards to a point to hopefully keep him around, and then he takes advantage of it. And one of those things are the emotions, right? The feelings you have for him. When he connects you, right, to or your feelings, right, or he can control them, he controls you. That at the end of the day, ladies, I always say hope is the anchor that keeps you at shore. If you're very hopeful of an outcome, okay, and your emotions go like this based on what he does, he's going to do that to you. He's going to control it. He's going to dangle this carrot in front of you. So again, what I'm getting at with the context of this video, or the title of this video, is he comes back because if too much time goes by, he just loses you when instead he needs control. No matter how much you like a guy, life just gets easier with time, okay? You could have the most horrendous heartbreak. I remember I did, and holy shit, it was horrible. Oh my God. Hey, I don't even want to be with the girl right now. She can come back to me with a case of $1,000 or $100,000. So $1,000 is nothing, but $100,000, $1 million. I still wouldn't take her. Just nothing against her. I wish her the best. She's just not what I want anymore. Not my type, right? So time does heal all wounds. But ladies, men know this. They don't want the time to go by where you're like, I'm done, okay? And he can't control you anymore. And here's the thing. You might be listening to this and you're like, that doesn't sound like my guy. He wouldn't do that. I don't mean, not all of it is controlling in a conniving, evil, manipulative way. Some of it is subconscious. It just happens. He's not sitting there thinking like, how can I play her? But to ignore the fact that what he does doesn't have an effect on how you feel and how and it controls the context or the situationship is delusional. You can't, I know you don't think that, right? Like obviously it does. So again, if you want help with your current situation, you want some insight that the guy's not giving you, some clarity and closure he's not giving you, click the link down below and you can get an hour session with yours truly, or you can get, and actually get both of these, and get my guides, 9 guides for the price of one, make you a dating expert. Everything I say in my videos is all right there, PDF, you just gotta scroll, baby. It's easy reads too. I got little cute pictures and everything. That being said, I love you all, take care, and peace.